Hey friends, so yeah, how you doing? Okay, so I was not planning to go live. I had some like work to do, but I'm not sure what's going on. Because I looked at my account and like 1,000 new people have followed this account in the last 48 hours. Oh my gosh, everything's a mess. Sorry. That's insane. So I just felt like I best come on here and say, hey, not that, all 1,000 of you are going to be here right now, but I was like, well, I best go on there and paint or something because that's just awfully nice. So hi. Did any of you catch my live from earlier today? Because I did go live earlier. Thanks. Yeah, I don't feel worthy, not one bit. Just a little mind blown right now. So anyway, I came live earlier, and I was packaging. I was putting these. I can never remember the name of them. Suffocation warning stickers on my brush sets that are being shipped to Amazon this week, because they come in this little plastic bag and blah blah blah. So I was putting those on, getting that all ready, and we're having a nice chit chat. So anyway, I won't go on and on. I'm just going to paint a little because I'm feeling like painting. Any requests? Any specific palette you'd like me to use? I'm here for it. So if you've got something you want me to do, throw it out there. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for this, so I have no paper towels. But, we'll make it work. Yeah, friends, let's do this. What do you want to... Oh, here's a paper towel. What should I paint? Let's see. Maybe I'll get out the watercolor pencils. Who knows? Who knows? I just grabbed this. This is a little fluorescent palette that I have. The brand is Lumi. It's Japanese. I got it on Amazon. Yay! I just recently found your TikTok and you inspired me to try watercolor again. Well, that is cause for a hallelujah. That's amazing. I'm so glad you're here. I don't know how folks are finding me these days. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of you are finding me. I'm not complaining, not one bit, because friends, if you're new here, my name is Kristy Rice, and I am obsessed with watercolor, and I've made it my mission in life to teach as many people as possible how to make art for joy's sake. Whether you've never tried watercolor before, whether you've tried watercolor and gave up on it. Yeah, so that's what I'm all about. So, okay, I'm going to use this little fluorescent palette, and then I'm also going to yank out the ink tents, the watercolor pencils, because, yeah, why not? Okay, translucent flowers. Somebody help me. I feel like this is like a new name for a thing. But is that where like it's like layers of petals and they overlap? Is that a translucent flower where you can see the petals kind of overlapping like tissue paper? Is that what I've heard this phrase before, and like I know what translucent means and I know what flowers means, but I'm not sure like what this new phrase means. So somebody educate me and we'll work on it. Hey friends, if you're just hopping on, okay, well, I'll do something and we'll see if it's right. Sound good? Okay, so I'm glad you're hopping on. I just happened to check my account and I was like, okay, somebody says yes. That to me is called glazing. So I will do what I think that is, and then we can talk about it and you can correct me where I go astray. Sound good? Okay. So I came on tonight. I didn't plan to because I looked at my account just now and I was like, wait a minute. I just posted a celebration, yay, I love you all, for 30,000 followers. And I've gained 1,000 followers since then. That was 2 days ago. I don't understand. Yay, you got the new book. Woo-hoo-hoo. I love it. So I came on to celebrate a little bit. So anyway, enough talking. I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to use the ink tints and I'm going to do some things with this translucent flower thing. Mind you, again, I've never watched anybody's rendition of these translucent flowers, so we'll see what happens. So let's flip around. Okay. All right, friends, I'm just getting things ready. I'll give you a look at what I'm using here. I'm gonna put on a little music. Because why not? I'm still here. I'm just getting things together. All right. I also am going to get my other here. All right. What do we got? Let me catch up on questions. Hi. They did not come out yet. You are awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I did a live earlier today. And, oh, is this dead, really? For the love. I did a live earlier today and talked about the brushes. I'm shipping them to Amazon this week because Amazon doesn't take too terribly long to, quote, check the product in. So I am thinking that we will be launching around Monday, August 23rd. That is where my head's at right now. So, that is my best guess, given all that I know. All right, let's get on this. So, someone asked for translucent flowers, and sorry, friends, I'm gonna have to pop up and down in my seat here to check your questions as they come in. So, if I don't answer your question right away, don't panic, don't feel bad. I'm just my other device is not charged like I thought it was. So I did spray these down. These are fluorescent, obviously. And so the request was for translucent flowers, which is not I think it's a new trend or a newer trend, and I'm not as familiar with it. I think I know what it is, which is where you layer petals and you kind of see through. They're kind of see-through. Layered on top of one another. So I just laid down some pink and I laid down some yellow, and I'm going to keep going around here. I'm going to leave some space in between so I can add my other petals in once these dry, right? That's kind of the idea. I'm starting wet on dry, but I'm very quickly going into wet on wet. And I'm then taking some clean water and pushing or flooding the surface with some clean water and scooping up some of that pigment to create some highlights. And then we're just going to let all this dry. Don't worry about those little splashes. It's not a big deal. Each petal, I'm kind of making its own kind of shape for added interest. I'm a big fan of keeping things, each petal being its own, having its own personality, especially with these kind of very transitional flowers, which are flowers, it could be a daisy, it could be a cosmo, it could be a camellia, it's not like I'm painting a definitive flower here. So when I do that, to keep things interesting and looking kind of organic, I make sure that the petals are varied in shape. All right, I'm just gonna keep it going here. I'm gonna do 4 because we're gonna lay some other petals down on top. And notice I've got only 6 colors I'm working with here, and I've used about 4 of them so far across the board. And when I go off screen here, I'm rinsing my brush. All right. All right, I'm gonna put this to the side and I'm gonna do a little something else because this needs to dry. So I'm gonna put this up here. Let me check on questions. Oh, no more questions. Okay, cool. All right, didn't miss anything. How y'all doing? Seriously though, if you have questions, ask away, ask away. Now I'm just gonna play around and get my watercolor pencils a-flowing. I'm using the 1/4" dagger here. Will you make me feel? Knock me off of my feet. All right, getting that ink tense going. I'm dragging some of that color down from the petals right into my stem. And going ahead and getting some water over top of that so it starts to blend. I'm gonna go ahead and paint a petal with just whatever's on my brush right now, which is a little bit of the pinks from the fluorescent. And then I'm gonna go in with this Inktense and just shape a leaf a little bit. While things are wet up here, I'm gonna just add some more color with these Inktense. Total experiment here, friends. This isn't, this isn't me being fancy. This is me just having at something here. I'm not trying to impress anybody because this could be a little bit of a situation here, AKA a failure. No. And I'm doing this while this dries. Hey friends, thanks for popping on. Just super random impromptu live tonight because we're celebrating 1,000 new friends have joined us in the last 2 days, which is kind of cool, kind of crazy, kind of just mind-blowing. And so I'm painting me some flowers with fluorescence and with Inktense watercolor pencils. Oh, that's kind of fun. Oh my gosh, thank you. Keep it up, love your work. Thank you, friends, you're so sweet. I'm gonna sit down for a moment because these old eyes need to be closer to the paper so I can really see what I'm doing here. I am just working with these 6 colors. That is it. I've talked about not being afraid of fluorescents, bringing them into even your more natural paintings. This is a case where the fluorescents are being fluorescent. I'm not hiding the fact here that I'm using fluorescents, right? We definitely got the fluorescents going on. So sometimes I like to just use fluorescent colors and kind of hide them in more muted colors and just add a little unexpected zing with them. But tonight, the fluorescents are on display, right? They are on display. I'm gonna paint another leaf just with water and then go back in. Ooh, look at that. That fluorescent just traveled right into my water. And I'm going in with those Inktense and defining that leaf. That's fun, right? I can get down with that. And adding a little water here. Yeah. And then you can, the great thing about the Inktense, they're so pigmented, you can pick up a little bit of that pigment, with your brush and continue on. You're gonna get a much more like muted brush stroke when you do that, but that's interesting, right? I love that. Grab some of this pigment, fill in some of these little leaves that I drew. Look at that. Ooh, fun. Okay, I'm gonna bring in some of this teal over here so this petal doesn't feel lonely. And also bring over some of this like olive tone that I was using over here. Friends, if you're just hopping on, and if you're new here, just a little impromptu celebration tonight with all our new followers. Just, hey, we're painting, doing our thing, messing around, playing with paint, because why not, right? Ooh, look at that. I mixed those two together. Dang, that is something. Some little buds. Let's get up here. I gotta check to see if you guys can actually see this or if I'm off screen. Oh yeah, good. I am using Inktense watercolor pencils. They're technically ink based, but they are essentially watercolor. Yeah, water soluble ink pencils. All right, let's put this one up here. Bring this one down. This one should be dry. So someone asked for translucent flowers, and I started on this one here as an attempt at translucent flowers because I wasn't super familiar with that term. But what I believe it is when you kind of layer petals over top of one another, and letting them dry in between layers. So you'll see what I mean here. Oh, these are still kind of damp. All right, let's let them hang for a moment still. Let's let them go. Let's let them go. Let's continue on here. Keep going with these crazy flowers of mine. I love the Inktense. I love that you can just draw with them, that you can pick up some of the pigment from what you just painted. I love that you can then go in and just kind of add some water from a dirty brush and fill in. I love that you can go back in and lightly add additional layers of color. They're great for just in the moment sketching. I mean, I know a lot of you are using these in really like skilled ways. I'm not degrading myself here. I'm not saying I'm unskilled, but I'm not using my Inktense to be realistic. Let's just say that for sure. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Boom, right there. Go back over here. Create like a little filler flower. Go a little stem here. Still just using the 1/4-inch dagger. Have some of that green on my brush. I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of these two greens, and I'm going to bring them over here to my little filler flower cluster. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So it's not boldness everywhere. We're not, having equal boldness of color everywhere on the page. We're having some softer, more muted moments like that. I am using their Japanese watercolors. The brand is called Lumi, accent color, and they are from Amazon. I picked them up years ago. I've actually gone through a few sets because I like them so much. Yeah, that's what I'm using. They're lovely. Do a little more filler over here. Just kind of using the point of the dagger and a little bit on the side. And then I'm going right in with whichever green strikes my fancy and adding little stems, all kind of converging to a point. And it creates kind of like a spray effect, which is lovely. I'm sorry, I keep banging into my water container with my ring. That is that clanging that you're hearing. I'm adding some contrast here. Right into the wet color. This is how I like to use watercolor pencils, right, like literally sketch right into the wet page. It's just lovely. I can even do some of that here in the flower if I want. It's actually not terribly wet anymore. Real light touch. Go back over, see what that does to things. Just really softens it. It's pretty. Okay. I am working fast. I'm trying to stay very instinctual. There's so much to be said for painting this way and allowing yourself to be messy and goofy and weird with the choices you make, and to work quickly so you don't have time to overthink things. There is so much enjoyment and joy to be had. Look at that. I'm going over those soft petals really lightly and defining them as leaves, as like a little spray, a little vine of sorts. Yeah, there's so much to be said for allowing yourself to play like this. Ooh, I like the curve of that. I'm gonna keep that going, define that a little bit more. Go into the 1/2 inch. A great way to force yourself to loosen up is to use a bigger brush. When you feel yourself getting super tedious about things, get a bigger brush out, friends. It forces you to loosen up. It forces you to just get in there and get her done, so to speak. So I'm pulling out the bigger brush. Why not? All right, let's see how y'all are doing. Oh, thanks. I am a little bit obsessed with nail art. I'm not a big fan of bright neon palettes, but you're making me reconsider. Oh, thank you. You know, it's weird. Like, would I have neons in my home? No. Would I wear them? No. But man, they are so exciting to paint with. Yeah, so exciting. All right. I think this one is dry enough to go ahead and experiment here. Now, this is a much more controlled kind of approach. All right, so everything is dry enough. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to layer a petal over top. Not a lot of pigment on my brush. I cleaned my brush and I'm just going to spread around this color because I want them to show through. See what I'm doing there? And you see how you can see through? And I forget who exactly asked me to show this technique. So I said, if I'm getting it wrong, you're going to tell me, right? If I'm getting it wrong, you're going to tell me. So don't be afraid to be like, that's not really it, Kristy. Because I feel like I'm a little not up on this technique. To me, this is just glazing when you layer watercolor together with dry time in between, so you can kind of see, like, you're maintaining the transparency over top of these petals, but you can still see the petal that was first painted, and it creates a cool, like, layering effect. And it's a great way to just expand your technique repertoire, so to speak. See that? You're really still seeing the overlap. Now, I'll be honest, like, this is really nice here and this worked out nice, but these petals, these first 4 petals, if I had let them dry even more, the overlap would have been even more obvious. So just something to point out. I'm kind of pushing the envelope here. But if I had let them dry a little bit more, and the key to glazing is not to hang out, not to over brush stroke the area, because the more brush strokes you add, the more you're going to be blending those original petals into your new petals. Does that make sense? So just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to let this dry. So it's a lot of layering, a lot of drying. Oh my gosh, you could do so many layers if you're patient. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to go ahead because I can come back in and continue to layer. Now, I've got a very limited palette here. So my next layer, I don't even know what I might use yellow. But imagine if you had a full spectrum of colors. You could start really, really pale and build up and build up and build up and layer and layer and layer and layer. So, all right. So somebody tell me if I'm getting this right. Yes, I think that's in the... Would you use the water to pick up the color more? Yeah, you certainly can. You could... let me see here. I mean, you could pick up the color anywhere. Like I'm using water to kind of push color up towards the top, but I'm trying to maintain these petals underneath. So there's a little bit of that. Let me get another palette here with some greens. Got a fluorescent green here, and we can do a leaf. I'm gonna do a little more research on these translucent flowers and kind of see exactly like where this phrase originated and who's kind of leading the charge on it. But I do have a feeling it's really just old-fashioned watercolor glazing with a new name. Okay, gonna let this dry. All right, let's start something new. I feel like, oh, do you guys want to see something I was working on? My mom had gladiolas in her garden, so I painted those over the weekend, just started. So I was going kind of, a lot of glazing on these, but oh, my mom's gladiolas are ridiculous. Oh, you can paint later on. This will eventually make its way to YouTube, so you can paint with me on YouTube later on. Absolutely. Yeah, so gladiolas, they're like those long stems, and then the flowers start to shoot off up along the edge of the stem. Yeah, so I'm kind of doing a weird composition, but yeah. I love gladiolas so much. Ready? All right, I'm feeling like rough watercolor paper. So got my rough paper out. Now where is my thingamajiggy that takes the paper? Oh, there it is. There's my dahlia. I'm still working on that. I wish they had a longer bloom time too. Glads are kind of finicky. Gotta take them out of the ground at just the right time or they get sassy. Hi everyone. All right, let's see. Friends, if you're just hopping on, I'm working on this little translucent flower glazing thing. And I did this craziness with some watercolor pencils and fluorescents. And now, I don't know I have some sunflowers sitting on my desk here. Maybe I'll do a sunflower. Sorry, friends. I think it's going to be a flower exclusive night. I'm just kind of feeling that. So I'm sorry. Oh, my spray bottle. I need a new spray bottle. I've been saying that for like 6 months and I still do not have a new spray bottle because, oh yeah. All right, let's get this going. Let's go in the middle here. Let's establish the middle. I'm gonna fill this square, friends. I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna go full bleed. I'm putting this thing almost right in the center. I am using violets and browns. I'm getting in here with this 1/2-inch dagger like it's my job. I'm gonna be bold. This is gonna be kind of like Georgia O'Keeffe meets, oh goodness, I don't know, Salvador Dali maybe. You remember the time you fell in love, remember the time. So this is the center of our sunflower, and I am using the curved edge of the 1/2-inch dagger, and I am changing my angle. Boom, boom, boom. I'm dancing along. I'm bouncing. That's a term I use a lot. Bounce along the page. Just get in there. Use your favorite dark colors. I'm not starting light. I'm going right in with boldness. I'm getting some unexpected stuff going on in there. Now, I don't want to overwork this, so let's get into our yellows because I'm feeling it, friends. Oh, I'm feeling it. Woo! Use all those yellows. Not just one. Not just the one you think you should use. Remember the time. Some of these petals, I'm like kind of filling like this, like filling them in. And some of them, I'm being more like brush strokey, like this. Oh, are we feeling it? Are we happy? I'm happy. Time. You remember the time first met. Oh my gosh. Remember what I say, friends. Be good to yourself. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube yet, you need to. And the first video that you need to watch of mine, it's a new one. And it's all about being kind to yourself as you're painting. And how do we do that? We say good things to ourselves. So that's why when I'm painting, friends, live, you're probably thinking, this is the most like self-absorbed girl I've ever met. But it's really a mindset tactic that I have trained myself over the years. Like I kind of like pep talk myself. I pep talk myself because ain't nobody else gonna do it. It's a whole lot better. I would rather give myself pep talks than continue to believe all the lies that my brain likes to tell me as I'm painting. So pep talk yourself. You should be saying something kind to yourself, whether it be out loud or under your breath or in your mind every couple of minutes as you paint. Because I'm sorry, friends, I don't care if you're a beginner. I don't care if you're making mud on the page. You can find something on that page that makes you excited about what you're doing. And you can find it and you can call it out. That's it. I declare that over you. Yes, I'm mixing in some fluorescent orange. I'm happy with this. I like this composition. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Mel Quick. Yes, it is a Grove spray bottle. Oh, yes. It does work. All right. Some of these areas are drying really quick. You could go in right away and just with the tip of this dagger, start making some linear stuff happen like this, because why not? I just dipped into 3 different colors. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Look at boom, boom, and into that terracotta right at the end, because well, why not? Look at that. So gorgeous. You could go. Now that my brush is dry, but I kind of like that dry brush effect in places. You could drag some of the color from your center. Look at that. Look at that. I'm dragging some of that purple up in here. Why not? Why not? You think I'm insane yet? It's okay. You can call it out. I won't hear you. You can just be like, that girl's nuts. I'll never hear you. You feel better. Getting some of these ink tints because it just feels right. I am literally scribbling and swirling. I'm gonna go ahead and get some like actual seeded details going here in the center because that just feels right. Variety of colors. Ooh, yeah. I knew something about tonight. I knew there was just something about tonight. And some nights I get on live and the world just kind of feels good. So thank you for being here, friends. Good night. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now, will I do that everywhere? Because I feel like that could be the inclination. Like you do something that you like and you're like, I got to do that everywhere. But I've learned over the years that the little bit of restraint in that regard is really serves you well in your paintings. So no, I won't continue to make those marks everywhere because there's beauty in the restraint, right? Go in and use these pencils for some linear detailing. I'm pressing really hard because then I can go back over this and release some of that color for some intensity there. It's subtle, but it's lovely. All right, something I want to do now, it's not going to be super obvious, but I think it's going to make quite a difference. I'm going to go start painting in some background in these white areas that I didn't fill with petals. And I'm going to, of course, why not, a really bright cerulean-like blue. Look at that. And just those little moments of that bright cerulean, that it looks like you're looking at this flower, you're in a field and you're looking up through the flowers to the sky. You get that vibe when you do stuff like this. Look at that. It's subtle, but man, lovely. Mixed with a little bit of the yellow there, but it's okay. Now, this is a nice big area. I'm going to go in here, watered down, and watch what I do here. This is going to be a nice area for the eye to go to. So I've kind of created this nice wet base, and then I'm going to dig into all my blues and get a nice variety of blues just mingling in there, wet on wet, super juicy and lovely. See that? Oof, that's good. That's good. Look at that. Doesn't take a lot of that blue, but it makes the whole painting. I feel like my heart rate is up. I'm so excited. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. Yes, mucho depth. Yes. Yes. Friends, okay. Crazy people are the best. Oh my gosh, I'm going back to address your questions. Okay. Thank you, friends. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys are so sweet. Holy moly. Sorry, I keep saying guys. I don't like that. Okay, my brushes are not out yet. We're getting closer. I believe they're going to launch around Monday, August 23rd. And just make sure you sign up for my email list so you'll be in the know. Yes, you can find me on YouTube. Absolutely. Thank you, Lorna. Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Greenery. I love that name. So I do take most of the TikTok lives and I repost them on Saturdays on my YouTube channel. I missed this past Saturday because I was traveling, but I do typically post them there. I've been doing that consistently for almost 2 months now. My channel, though, is not only 2 months old. My channel is like 5 years old, but I took a very long break from my channel. So I'm back at it now. All right, let's see how this bad boy's doing. All right, let's just see. I think as I add more layers, this is a great one to do with staining watercolors that really stain the page. Let's see here. Go over the green. Ooh, what is in my palette? What was that? That was so weird. Yeah, that kind of worked. That's a little dark. Pull some of that down and out. All right, I'm trying to think what color is going to work and still maintain these edges. Nope, I don't like that. Let's just try this straight up fluorescent pink and see what happens. Yeah, I think that's going to be too strong. So the key is, I think, staining watercolor, staining pigments so that when you add the layer over top, you don't lose the definition. Not too shabby. Gotta work on it. Gotta work on this translucent flower thing. Whoop, I smudged my leaf. It's all right. Yeah, so you could keep going on this and going and going and going. Holy moly, you could keep going. Just fixing my smudge. So you can still see some of the layers. This one's coming out nice right here. This one's nice. As they dry, I think you're gonna see more of the layers reveal. Oh, you know me, always up for an experiment. Friends, I do have, every Tuesday, my brand new YouTube video goes live. So tomorrow at noon, it's always at noon, Tuesdays and Saturdays. So tomorrow I have a new one going live, and it's a good one. I think gonna like it. All right, yeah, we're kind of getting that translucent effect. Oh, you got me into watercolor, and now I feel like I have discovered a whole new world. I love that. I'm so glad that you're here in watercolor land. How do you avoid the water spilling everywhere on the paper? Like spilling from, like dropping from my brush, or I guess if you could clarify a little bit, that would help me answer. Never be afraid of watercolor. I am addicted. I reside in Pennsylvania. So I am here in Pennsylvania mostly, but I do travel a lot, not as much in the last year or so, obviously. All right. Cool. Sorry, friends, I'm getting a text from my husband. Had to reply to that text. So this is the painting one of the paintings. I did 2 in tomorrow's YouTube vid, and this is one of them. So when I try to water down a color, I add too much water most times, and it spills everywhere. So I would suggest to, when you're picking up water to add to your paper on your brush, just blot your brush a little bit on a paper towel. Get into a practice of doing that, because it sounds like you're overloading your brush, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if it's causing you to feel super out of control and you're dropping too much water on the paper, then I would just get into the habit of just dabbing a little bit onto a paper towel before. So pick up the water you think you need on your brush and give it a little tiny dab on your paper towel, and then go to the paper. Does that make sense? Do you have any tips on how to paint white flowers against a dark green background? Sure. Carrots, fruit, and flowers. Yay! My favorite thing to paint, flowers. Flowers, I love painting dahlias, I really do. So yeah, I guess I would have to say flowers in general, dahlias more specifically. All right, white flowers. So the thing is, if I'm being a little bit more of a purist, I am going to paint, obviously you could paint the whole background juicy watercolor green and then paint white acrylic over top, but let's do the purist thing tonight. So let's do a white-ish rose, super loose. Don't worry, I'm not gonna try to get all realistic here at midnight or whatever the heck it is. So I start by laying down color. Really soft color. And then almost immediately I go into my dark greens and I start to paint around the flower. Lots of leaves. Dark greens, dark blues. I just start blocking in some details. And so basically you're making your flower pop by the background that you add, essentially. This is super fast and loose, friends. But this is basically how. Bring this in a little bit. My rose is getting a little cray-cray. Doesn't all have to be leaves. You can do some berries. I know there are a lot of like purist watercolorists that do this where they paint all over the page and they, you know, there's a lot of bleeding going on and then a flower like magically appears. I have a little bit of a different approach to it. Similar basic theory behind it. But I'm more of a modern watercolorist than anything else, so my approach is definitely a little different in that regard. I might start adding in some linear detail in areas just to define the flower a little bit further. It's a slower process, requires quite a bit more patience than painting a flower that is a color, not the absence of color. Because you're building and building and building slowly, building the detail. You're not wanting to get so much color in your white flower that it just doesn't feel white anymore. But yeah, that's the basic idea. And you can continue, you know, you could add I'm just using kind of like a buff color here to rough in my flowers. And then I start going right around them. With the greens and the blues and all the things. Yeah, she's starting to pop. This one here is starting to pop. And that's basically the idea. Satisfied, good. Of course. Fast and loose is how we like it. Because of you, I painted my first flower last week. Best therapy ever. I'm taking a screenshot of that, friends. Oh my gosh. I am so honored. Really. I'm going to try not to cry because last time somebody in the medical field told me that I helped them through the pandemic, I cried a little bit. So, yeah. And I'm literally cutting in. You can kind of see where I'm cutting in with green to define the rose, to kind of reshape areas that I wasn't super jazzed about when I first laid down color. And I'm definitely more jazzed about the direction now. And that's the thing. I say this all the time, friends. You got to paint through the ugly. You got to paint through the awkward. Because every painting has it. Every painting has ugly and awkward. Got to get through it. You can't get stuck in it. I mean, you can, but it's not good looking out when you do. It's just not. It's just not. Just lightening some of that green I added there in the center. I actually think I want a little bit of a yellow center because yellow just feels right. It's almost like a garden rose, right? Little dabs, little texture-y moments. Feels good and right. What feels good and right in your painting? That's what you want to ask yourself. Not what is by the rule book. No. What feels good and right to you? Toss the rule book. Doesn't work for anybody. Time. Ooh, I like it. I am listening to some Michael Jackson. Just, I don't like what I did there. I'm gonna get rid of that. I don't like that. I'm just gonna let that dry, and I want a third flower somewhere, but not directly across. Like it should have been more here, but this leaf's in the way. These are the conversations I have with myself. So I'm gonna kind of tuck another flower kind of behind. It's still kind of across from this one, but if I make it bigger, it'll be okay-ish. I'm just speaking out loud about compositional choices that I'm making on the fly. If you're wondering, like, oh my gosh, what in the world is she talking about? That's what I'm talking about. We remember time. We remember time. All right, yeah, that's feeling good. I can get down with that. Now, friends, remember, all of this messy stuff, all of these moments that don't feel like they have any definition, at any time, you can go in with some strong tones. I just loaded a cerulean, an indigo, a little bit of violet on my brush, all at the same time. I'm feeling really happy and strong about this particular leaf here needing some life. And you can go in and add some life right over top, right? At any time, anywhere. Another layer of awesome. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Loosen up that hand, let it flow, let those lines flow. You can practice that. You can practice that getting loose with your hand. That doesn't just come naturally to anyone. You gotta practice that stuff. Going in with some background, some more like traditional background, like I did on that sunflower. It's kind of working in certain spots already. Some purples. I'm not a big fan of straight up purple, so I typically try to mess up purple with some pinks or oranges. So forgive me, I know. I'm a trader. I don't love purple, but it's okay. And I'm using my liner brush, real soft blue, really muted blue, and I'm adding in some linear detail on these others to define some of these. You know, when I think of a rose, I think of petals that kind of weave in and out of one another. They swirl and weave, and so I'm trying to not recreate them as they would be in nature, but give that vibe, that curling of a petal, that swirling of a grouping of petals, my own spin. And I do that with this liner brush very often. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Just simple. A little bit of yellow back in that center, and I do a little bit of pink and violet. They don't have to match. Look at that, isn't that pretty? That's just simple and busy all at the same time. The way you make me feel. Let's get into these berries. Give them some more something. There she is. Ooh, let me see. Let me get caught up here, friends. At least 3 nice things you like about your painting. That's right. Start writing them on. Oh, I like that. What kind of brushes would you recommend for a beginner? Well, I would recommend my brush set, which is coming out on Amazon soon. I know I'm biased, I know, but I love synthetic bristle, a nylon bristle, and my brushes are that. And I do love a dagger brush. This particular dagger brush is like my queen bee. She's a 1/4-inch dagger. I developed her and had her manufactured, and I love her. And so I would recommend some type of dagger for sure. It's a very good suggestion for artistic and emotional reasons. Yay! Yes, who said it? I have ADHD and I feel like this makes my brain stop spinning. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that. Is there such thing as a true white? You will always have shading from layers, folds, and creases. Absolutely. I don't believe there's anything. Even in nature, like whites are like absorb the color around them. So when I'm painting a white flower in nature, I always look like what's around it. And that's going to impact how I paint the quote white flower. You know what I mean? Of course. Whew. All right, friends. I hear a little bit of family drama going on with a bedtime situation in the background here. So I am going to sign off, but I'm going to give you a little looky-loo at here what we've been working at. We got the big, bold, George O'Keeffe-ish sunflower. We started the white garden roses on the, with the green negative space, and then this craziness. Super fun. Make sure to watch out for this on a YouTube replay so you can paint along with me. Oh, and we did this one too, the translucent flower, but this little guy needs a little more work and a little more investigation. I will get back on that track for sure. And we were using the Inktense watercolor pencils, these bad boys. And I also used, of course, my case for making handmade watercolors. Those I brought in midway. And then the fluorescents here. And they are by Lumi, and you can get them on Amazon. All right, I'm going to go see what the crying's all about in the background here. Hashtag real life, friends. But thank you. Yeah, so launch time, you are very welcome. Launch time is going to be around August 23rd. I'm honing in on the date. honing in on the launch date. Sign up for my email list. Go to artforjoysake.com, which is the link right here in profile, and sign up for the email list, plus a bunch of other things you can do at that link. So thank you so much, friends. So thrilled you were here tonight. Thank you for celebrating, and hello, and I love you to all the new followers. I'm blown away. Friends, thank you so much. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Happy painting.